Like, I know that I don't have one, but if I did, these cookies would make me hard. Before we get started, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens is a nutrition company that created a nutritional drink called AG1 that I've been loving lately to help me boost things like my energy, my focus, as well as digestion and just overall immune health, and all delivered in one drink that you can take once a day. So it's just like a one daily serving type of thing. But more on that a little bit later. Hello friends, it's Candace, the EdgyVeg. If you're new here, welcome. I've been playing around with some new video ideas and I thought it could be fun to take some ingredients that we all know and love and try to use them in another way. So today I'm going to show you 3 ways to use cereal that is not, you know, directed on the box. It's not with a bowl and it's not with some milk. All right, so the first way that you can use cereal in a way that is not intended is to bread things. It makes an amazing crispy breading. It adds some texture and crunch. I love it. It's so good for like fried seitan, which is what we're going to make, or like anything you want to bread, really, like if you want some tofu breading. My favorite things to use are Rice Krispies or crisped rice cereal, as well as crushed cornflakes. Let's bread some seitan. You'll see exactly how easy it is. This particular way to do it, I actually got from Mary's Test Kitchen. I love this. I've used this since the first time I saw her do it on her channel, and it's my favorite breading with the cereal for sure. So we're going to make a seasoned flour. So we're gonna need some flour, obviously. And then for the seasoning part of our seasoned flour, we have some salt, onion powder, garlic powder, nutritional yeast, and white pepper. So you can just whisk that together. Voila, and you can set that aside. For the seitan, I'm just using some that I have in my freezer. Every time I make seitan, because it's not that hard to make, but I always like to make a little bit extra and just freeze it for when I need it. I'm just going to use these little, almost like little cutlets, but not. And we're just gonna toss them into the seasoned flour and then put them on this wire cooling rack, which is placed inside a baking sheet. Make sure that you're shaking off the excess, and then you can just place it on your wire cooling rack while you do the rest of them. Now I'm going to add half of the puffed rice or Rice Krispies, and I'm going to crush the other half with my hands. You can take out some frustration. Inflation is making it impossible to buy groceries. What else can we complain about? Gas prices are horrible. No one cares about climate change. Any frustration that you have, this is a great time. People still eat cheese. And then you just incorporate it. This is a great time to heat up your oil. So now just take the floured seitan, put it into this chickpea mixture, let the excess drip off, and then stick it into your seasoned flour with the Rice Krispies. And you can like press it on so that it's really nice and coated, but make sure that you're getting rid of any excess flour so it doesn't burn in your oil. And repeat. Heat up your oil to like 350 to 375, and then you want to cook those for about 4.5 minutes. All right, we have our cereal crusted fried chicken here. This looks amazing, looks so good. I have some dips, let's give it a try. Oh my God, so good. The Rice Krispies or crispy rice cereal or whatever makes it so crispy. Like it's in the name, it's right there. It's like that extra crunch without having to deep fry it twice. You know, like the double fry, you get that like super crispy fried chicken. Well, you don't have to do that. You can just use the cereal. Perfect. Oh, so crunchy and crispy. Just make it. Just trust me. All right, on to the next one. Before I continue, I wanted to take a quick second just to tell you guys about our sponsor, Athletic Greens. They have created this nutritional drink that I am loving called AG1. As you guys know, I have like a super busy life. I'm always doing something for YouTube or social media. I have 3 special needs dogs that need taken care of, and I'm trying to have an active and thriving social life as well. So using AG1 daily to help boost my energy has been a lifesaver. So I've been loving AG1 as a way to get me through the day. Instead of drinking like 7 cups of coffee, I just toss 1 scoop of AG1 into some water, shake it up, and I get that sustained energy that I need without the caffeine hit that can make me feel a little jittery and a little out of it. And if you saw me on Instagram on the weekend, you know that I went to a last minute trip to New York City to see Harry Styles. So when I came back, I had to go right to work, and I needed all the energy in the world to kind of feel like I was back in the real world again. Their energy supporting ingredients include B12, that is always natural and never synthetic, which is great, bioavailable folate, and magnesium, all working together to keep me on track and focused throughout the day. Just follow the link in my bio down below and you can get started with AG1, and you also get 1 free year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So definitely check out the link in the description box down below. And let's get back to the recipes. Recipe number 2 with cereal, we are making cookies. If you haven't used cereal in baking, it's a wonderful ingredient that's nice and crunchy and crispy. So we're gonna make some milk bar style cookies, but completely vegan. So we're using some corn flakes. That's going to give us like the crunch in the cookie. I mean, we have like cereal bars. It's the same type of thing, but a cookie and better. Let's bake. First thing you want to do, as with every cookie recipe, is cream together some butter. I'm just using like vegan basil and sugar. My personal philosophy is that white sugar and brown sugar make the best cookies because it's the perfect like crispy crunchiness, but you can do what you want. It'll just be wrong. I said what I said. Because if you have like only brown sugar, it is too chewy. And if you have only white sugar, it's too hard. You have to have both. Scrape down the sides as you go, and after you've whipped it, creamed it together for about like 2 to 3 minutes, we are going to add some flour, aquafaba, vanilla, salt, baking powder, and baking soda. And then you're going to beat that for like 8 minutes. Don't skip this and do it for like 2. Just don't. I can see that you're thinking about it. I can see it. Just listen. We of course need some chocolate chips, our cereal, and then just mix that for like 30 seconds almost. And now add some marshmallows. These are dandies, they're vegan, they're delicious, you should buy them. Plop them in there. Don't overmix these, just kind of like fold it in. Just like 1 time around, maybe 2. So this part is kind of up to you, but the milk bar cookies are really big. So I'm going to make them really big. This is a 2 3/4 ounce scoop. You can be a normal person and also do them a normal size, but that's not as fun. So we're gonna scoop them, put them onto a parchment paper, press them down with our hands slightly, and then stick them in the freezer for like minimum an hour, but I'll probably do it overnight. Also, don't be like, I don't wanna wait that long. Don't skip this step, because if you bake it now, it's going to spread too much and you're just gonna end up with 1 giant cookie, which is also super fun, but not what we're going for. My head for scale. All right, so these can go in the freezer and I'll see you in like a couple hours. So we have our frozen cookie dough. Now you wanna stick these on the pan 4 inches apart from one another. They're going to spread out a lot. So just be generous with the space. I'm only going to cook 5 at a time because I find that that's just the perfect amount of space apart from one another without running into that issue. So you can stick these in the oven, 350 for about 18 minutes, but turn them, rotate them halfway through. Small oven problem. Get in there. When you take the cookies out of the oven, you have to let them cool on the pan. Do not move them. They will fall apart. You will ruin the cookie, and then you will cry and you'll be sad and your day will be over. And then there's no point in getting up, is there? So don't do that. And you want to take them out when they are nice and brown on the outside and just starting to brown on the inside. But yeah, don't move them for like a solid 20 minutes. Like, don't move them from the pan. It's just one cookie. Like, I'm just gonna have one cookie. Like just one. Just one. I'm on a diet. I'm just gonna have one. This is the type of thing I would do when I was a kid. Like, my mom would be like, okay, you can have one cookie. So then I would bake cookies like this size that were like 2 cookie sizes. It's like, I'm just gonna have one. You said I could have one. Like, I know that I don't have one, but if I did, these cookies would make me hard. Wow. This might be the best cookie I've ever had. Yeah. That's the only cookie recipe you'll ever need. So crunchy, crispy. The marshmallows, like marshmallowy. This is now a cookie eating channel. So our last recipe, we are going to use cornflakes again, and we're using crushed cornflakes to make meatballs. So these are kind of the type of meatballs that are great for like parties, like hors d'oeuvres. You can, you know, stick them on a little toothpick, pass them around, have them as an appetizer, or you can just, you know, eat them on the side of like mashed potatoes and other vegetables. Really up to you. But instead of using breadcrumbs, we are going to use cornflakes. And this is about £1 pound, so that's like a package and a half-ish of veggie ground beef. This is Beyond Meat. You can use whichever one you want. I'm just gonna add a teaspoon and a half of mustard. Again, you can use any mustard that you want. I'm just using Dijon because that's what I have. Then we're going to add the cornflakes. At this point, you can also add salt. I find Beyond Meat to be quite salty already. Not like unbearably salty, just it's already seasoned, and I find that the seasoning is already, it's like the perfect amount of salt. So if you like more salt, add it. I'm not going to. And then just a little bit of pepper. For binding, I'm going to add a little bit of aquafaba. I'm gonna start with 1 tablespoon. I find that like Beyond Meat or Impossible, it acts a little bit differently than traditional ground meats in that it doesn't quite need as much liquid. Like for a recipe like this, like a lot of the time it'll call for like milk or whatever to add some like moisture, but this is quite moist. And I also find that it sticks together on its own pretty well, so you don't need too much binder. So I'm only adding 1, maybe 2 teaspoons. I'm gonna go in and kind of like figure it out with my hands how much I wanna use. Just mix that all together until it is well combined, and then we're gonna just turn that into balls. Okay, so you wanna take a lift baking sheet or something like this. I like to line it with one of these non-stick like silicone pads, just because I find that it helps protect the pan that you're using, and also it makes it non-stick. But because I do want a little bit of that oiliness, I am going to, actually, you know what? Pretty oily on its own. I'm not gonna grease it. I just decided I'm actually not gonna grease it because Beyond Meat is quite oily from the coconut anyway. So I actually probably don't even need this. So we are changing things up on the fly. I'm just going to wet my hands a little bit and then just make some balls. You want them to be like about 1 inch. So we're using an ice cream scoop. Grabbing it. Then making little meatballs. And then just put them on the tray. And repeat until you've done it with all of your meat. This recipe makes quite a bit, so it is really good for entertaining, like if you're throwing a party, but also really great if you want leftovers or to freeze them, because then you can just pop them into the oven when you want them, like on a night where you don't want to cook. For our glaze, or to serve as well as bake, I'm going to do like a play on brown sugar glaze, but I'm gonna use coconut sugar. So just coconut sugar, mustard, and some vinegar. You can use white vinegar, you can use apple cider vinegar. It's really up to you. So I'm gonna add about 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons of mustard. I'm just using Dijon. About 2 tablespoons of vinegar. I'm using coconut sugar, but you can use brown sugar as well. You can also use maple syrup if you wanted to. And over medium-high heat, you just wanna stir that together until the sugar dissolves. When your sugar is dissolved, we're just gonna add a little bit over top of each meatball. And then we're gonna bake it for about 15 minutes. You wanna either like flip it or stir everything about halfway through. And definitely make sure that you leave enough for glazing after. Please fit. Okay, my oven is too small and shitty. All right, well, onto pans it goes. Okay, smaller pan that I know will fit. There we go. Slippery little suckers. All right, so after you've glazed your little meatballs, you can stick them on a toothpick, and they're a little delicious, sweet, savory, perfect appetizer. It's like moist and salty and sweet and a little bit crunchy. It's so good. Yeah. So enjoy them on their own as an appetizer or on the side with like veggies. Perfect. It's easy, tastes great. Who knew you could do so many different things with cereal? All right, guys, that is today's video. Let me know if there are some ingredients that you want to see as part of this series. Let me know if you like this series where I take an ingredient and show you different, like interesting or unconventional ways to use it. You can leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye. A huge thank you again to Athletic Greens. They have graciously provided us with some great perks if you want to give AG1 a try. Just follow the link in my bio down below and you can get started with AG1, and you also get 1 free year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So definitely check out the link in the description box down below.